Fire Emblem Engage is the latest in a series of tactical role-playing games by Intelligent Systems, published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. It has a paid expansion pass featuring 4 waves of DLC, introducing additional maps, items, and story. The series has come a long way since static 2D art and pixel sprite work to today's full 3D models, but is Engage worth playing? This is the spoiler-free casual review. Much like most games on the Nintendo Switch, the options are basically non-existent, offering only a change in dialogue text and between Japanese and English dub. That said, the game's performance on the Switch is quite respectable, so it's mostly only lacking in a more customizable interface. Before jumping in the game proper, you get to choose your form of ally. You get to input your name and birthday, which is functionally cosmetic. You have 3 increasing difficulty options in normal, hard, and maddening. Then choose if you're playing in casual, the fallen units return, and classic for permadeath. Outside the profile cards and certain additional modes and stats you can look up in-game, online play is mostly limited to some random items you can find on the battlefield. If I had to choose a word to describe Engage's art style, perhaps that would be anime. Not in the bad way, mind. The mostly brighter color palette is quite pleasing on the eyes, with quite a spread of new eccentric party members to add to your squad. While the red-blue protagonist is admittedly quite jarring on the first impression, I do think it does get quite endearing. Fortunately so, considering I spent almost 80 hours on the first playthrough. The use of 3D models is alright. There will be many canned animations and certain actions done just off-screen to save on additional details, not especially to its detriment. If you're really nitpicky, you have to live with the various instances of clipping across the board. The music has several standout tracks, one of them being the opening vocals theme. Both the English and Japanese version did not have to go this hard, but they sure did. I myself have a number of personal favourite battle tracks, with a large soft spot for the Final Story's battle theme. The basics should be familiar to seasoned veterans of grid-based tactical strategy games. You deploy a set number of units, with each of them being in their own respective classes, able to move a certain range, and strike the enemy if they are so capable. There is no back attack or individual defense moves, though there is a chain guard move to have a character soak at least one attack for another. The weapon triangle, the so-called rock paper scissors advantage chart, is here. You could consider it more potent than usual in Engage thanks to the brick mechanic, which prevents a broken unit from doing a follow-up attack until the end of your next combat when hit by an advantageous attack. Either you or the enemy can wail on the other with impunity at least one round. Smash weapons can do something similar, though these weapons cannot strike first nor do follow-up attacks. Incidentally, weapons no longer have durability, which I love, because bad RPG hoarding habits are hard to break out of. Staves, whether they be healing or utility, still do, however. Terrain bonuses or limitations are present. Ground tile can provide a plus 30 bonus to dodge, for example, but flying units won't be able to utilize them. Flying units, however, they can go to places where infantry or cavalry can't traverse easily or at all, unless specified to be impassable. I've come this far without mentioning the emblems. So we have emblems that are powerful utilities that grant an equipping unit that emblem spread of bonuses, skills, and weapons. Engaging is a super mode that lasts a limited number of turns to give the user their unique weapons. It's an engage move that is usable once per engage, typically a robust signature move. Should you not have enough emblem rings, you can still have bond rings that provide comparatively minor boosts, but have some other unique skills not found on the emblems themselves. Outside of combat, you have the Somnia. Here, you can do a bunch of admin or side activities, gain support with your units to learn more about them, and eventually pack support them, essentially bonding Elia with the other for life. Elia can pack support any playable character regardless of gender, so happy gays! There's a cafe to gain support and additional stats for the next battle depending on the quality of the food, but honestly I didn't really find much use out of that. This kind of fringe case use also applies to the side activities you can unlock. Strength training only grants Alia the bonuses, and if you flunk it you can get nothing for your time. Unless you really enjoy these minigames or intend to min-max, you can pretty much ignore them. While I do consider even normal difficulty decently challenging, especially for someone not well versed in these tactical games, I didn't have much desire to try out what are ostensibly breaks from the usual action just to get that extra bit of bonus. For those interested in level grinding, the arena offers 3 tries after each combat to grind out some more EXP and potentially supports for a given character. There are overworld skirmishes or training occasions for even more EXP. As I understand it, donating to nations improves the quality or spawn rate of the skirmishes, but money honestly feels kinda tight in this game. I only grinded because that's how I play, and I didn't even donate past level 2 or normal difficulty for the nations. Once characters hit certain level thresholds, they can change classes provided you have the seals and required weapon proficiency. The DLC classes require certain items instead. For their respective classes, they can then get its class specific passive in addition to their personal skills, and whatever they have from their emblem or bond rings as relevant. Classes have their own growth rates additive to the characters, so reclassing to force a certain stat growth could be something you want to do. For those deciding on whether to obtain the expansion pass, you get bonus items and more emblems to go with new maps. There's also the Fell Xenologue with more maps and new characters to add to your roster once you complete it. The DLC emblems are definitely powerful in their own right, which I can jokingly dub pay to win. These emblems can't be used to make bond rings though. As additional flavor, these emblems can have bonus dialogue if you have the emblems associated with them from the original base game. The biggest chunk of the expansion pass is arguably going to be the Fell Xenologue, what with giving more story and characters. Playing the Xenologue gives you fixed unit levels, classes and inventory per battle, so you do have the option to jump in right away as soon as you can access it without the other base game emblems, characters, or even support or bond bonuses which do carry over. Its difficulty is also separate from the base game and nobody dies permanently in it, so feel free to bolt as much as I did. I've been told criticisms of Engaged story being less complicated or even too simple. However, I strongly believe it's told competently, and I think that's much better than trying to clumsily weave in too many nuances. I do understand if people think certain complexities are hidden far too deep into support chains, but I see that as a way to get you invested in the overarching story. It's not that deep, but I think if a story has gotten you crying positively over certain beats, over rubbing your temples regarding what you see as plot holes, the former is more preferable. I enjoyed it myself. That said, this is one thing I find important enough to mention to spoil, so to speak. Engage lacks paired endings between characters who aren't earlier, which is disappointing considering the dynamics the rest of the cast can have. In summary, what are the pros and cons? Pros: engaging, haha, story and characters. It can still be fairly challenging even on the lowest difficulty, and I think it's got pretty stunning visuals and music. And well, there's some cons. It's unfortunate that you need further paid DLC to further enhance the experience, but I think in this case at least the DLC is of decent value. And for those who like story, the lack of paired endings for non-main characters, that I didn't really like that either. If you don't like tactical strategy RPGs and have yet to take the leap into anime TM, Engage is a pretty good starting point. I give Fire Emblem Engage a highly recommended.